What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah. What's good? This is your boy Tone DeShields the second. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge this to the game. You got to know the vibes. You got to know the energy. You got to know where my body be. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribe to the channel, especially if you're new, right? If you're new to the channel, if this is your first time watching, man, welcome. I'm grateful. I appreciate you for popping in. I know you have a ton of options out there. You probably were just scrolling on YouTube, trying to get your Eagles fix. You know, the Eagles play the Cowboys this Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I think 7:30 p.m. Central. It's going to be a hell of a night on Thursday. The banner's dropping, and you need your Eagles fix. You need to scratch that itch. You feel what I'm saying? And you found me. You found Chalk It Up Sports. You found your guy, Tone DeShields the second. And I appreciate that. I don't take it for granted. So make sure you stick around for a long time and not just a good time. Smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed, because the content only gets better. We've experienced a ton of growth the past 365 to 400 days, and it's been phenomenal, and you guys have been a part of that. So make sure you exercise your right to fight, exercise your power as a consumer, exercise your right to hit that like button, and let's keep the ball rolling. Let's get right into it. So as you guys already know, make sure you guys are locked in on Instagram and TikTok at ChalkItUp_sports. You guys can also follow me on the socials. Follow me on Twitter or X to be specific. Follow me on there at DeShields. That's at DeShields as it's spelled right there. So pretty easy, you guys. I appreciate the love and support. Let's get right into the content. As I mentioned, your Philadelphia Eagles, they play the Dallas Cowboys, their division rival, this Thursday, the season opener. NBC, Peacock, it's prime time. The Super Bowl banner is dropping. The Philadelphia Eagles dominated the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59, Super Bowl LIX. They did a tremendous job bringing home the Lombardi Trophy. They did a lot of celebrating throughout the offseason. They did a lot of tours throughout the offseason. You got to give credit to all parties involved. All the players involved, all the coaches, all the front office members, all the nutritionists and the trainers and the families and so on and so forth that made it possible for that season to end the way it ended. You know, they did a ton of celebrating at the parade, the ring ceremony. I think that they hosted at the Philadelphia Art Museum. It was a beautiful affair. You saw different players going back home to their respective hometowns, to their respective home cities. A lot of guys got the keys to their own cities where they grew up at. A lot of guys visited their old high schools. A lot of guys went on a whole lot of different runs. And, we've even had guys like Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship start their podcasts, right? A lot of guys got paid from that Super Bowl run. Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, right? Saquon Barkley got re-upped again. Zack Baun got paid from that run, right? I believe Cam Jurgens got paid as well. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of people benefited from that run. A lot of celebrations happened because of what the Philadelphia Eagles were able to accomplish. But now we're in the 2025 season. Whatever happened during that Super Bowl, whatever happened during that playoff run, whatever happened during the 2024 season is irrelevant. It means nothing. It can't help us today. It won't help the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday. Same thing goes for the Cowboys. Whoever they were in 2024 does not matter, right? I have my own opinions about the Dallas Cowboys and how they're constructed and how I think that game is going to go. And I have my own opinions and assumptions about the Dallas Cowboys' limitations and their strengths and their weaknesses and their coaching and, the moves they made in the offseason. I have my own opinions about that. But when you really get down to the nitty gritty, when you really just strip away all the fluff and you strip away all the prognosticators and the analysts and all the predictions and the list and, the rankings, when you strip all that fluff away and you get down to the essence, the core of what the sport is, it doesn't matter what you did yesterday. It doesn't matter who you beat before me. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter what trophy you got in your cabinet. It doesn't matter what ranking you topped. It doesn't matter. The reality is you got to play me on Thursday. You got to play me on game day. You got to show me where your manhood is on Thursday. It's just that simple. As supporters, as supporters of the Philadelphia Eagles, we have opinions about the rivals. We have opinions about the opposition. We talk trash, we beef. It's all fun, right? It's sports talk. It's tribalism at its finest. We love it. But when you strip all that away and that ref blow that whistle and the kickers kick the ball off, everything that happened before that day, everything that people predicted and talked about does not matter. Those Philadelphia Eagles players, Jalen Hurts and those boys, got to show up. Simple as that. Because the Cowboys not going to lay down. I don't care what they're going through. I don't care how much of a joke we think they are. They're not going to lay down, right? And it's up to the Philadelphia Eagles to go in there and put them down. It's time. It's up to the Philadelphia Eagles to go out and put those boys out the pasture. Y'all ever read the book Old Yeller? Yeah. Sometimes you got to put them out their misery because they know not what they do. Sometimes you got to let them know there's levels to this thing. And that doesn't just happen. You got to go out and prove that. So again, I say, whatever happened in that Super Bowl, whatever we think internally about the Philadelphia Eagles or the Dallas Cowboys on game day, it does not matter. And you want to know how I know that? You want to know why I think the Philadelphia Eagles know that? Because here's the thing, right? I say all that I'm saying, and I strongly believe the Philadelphia Eagles understand the assignment. I strongly believe the Philadelphia Eagles understand what's at stake here. The Lombardi Trophy, you got it. Okay, cool. There's a new one built every year. There's a new one crafted every single year with a new engraving with a new team to win it. Are you going to be that team this year? Can you do it again? Can you show that, hey, we're not only are we great, we're a dynasty. We're unfuckwittable. Can you prove that? I know this because the Eagles know this. And I know the Eagles know this because of what Nick Sirianni announced, I believe, yesterday or earlier today. Nick Sirianni announced, it came out, it was reported that the Philadelphia Eagles will not be attending the banner dropping. They will be in the locker room until that banner is done. They will not be attending the ceremony of the banner dropping. That's for the fans. That's for the people. That's so your ops can see it. But Nick Sirianni and his guys, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Devontae, Zach Baun, Saquon Barkley, those leaders, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Reed Blankenship, all those guys, Jake Elliott, they're not going to be there. They're going to be in the locker room focusing on the task at hand because they take their job serious. And they understand that what happened in 2024 does not matter. They flushed it. Ain't that right? They put it behind them. It happened. It's time to move on. It's 2 days before game day. The way they moving militant. They moving like the Secret Service. Everything I've heard from that building, everything I've heard surrounding this 2025 Eagles team, they're taking this season probably more serious than the last one because they understand that when you're the last team standing, everybody want to take your head off. That goes in any industry. When you're the top dog, they want your spot. They want to embarrass you. They want to use you as the barometer for their own success. A lot of teams are going to try to use the Philadelphia Eagles as a way to validate what they've accomplished or what they're trying to do. A lot of organizations are going to use the Philadelphia Eagles as the measuring stick. They happen to beat us. Hey, if we could beat the Eagles, we could beat anybody. Nah, we ain't having that. We're not going to be your guinea pig. The Philadelphia Eagles not going to be your confidence booster. But they will be your confidence destroyer. Because of the way they're built, the way they're constructed, the way they've invested in this franchise, the way they've invested in their players. You see, the Philadelphia Eagles, they don't wait too long to pay guys. The Philadelphia Eagles are very simple. You do right by them, they do right by you. Very simple. Some organizations, it's a little bit more complex than that. They like to make you sweat for your money, not the Eagles. They'll take care of you for the most part. And if they can't take care of you, they're going to make sure they send you somewhere where you will be taken care of, not just with the money, but also being a part of a winning situation, a situation where you can make your money and still be relevant. So again, the Philadelphia Eagles, they will not be attending the banner drop because it means nothing in the end. They got the rings, they had the parades, they all went on their own respective press runs. Jalen Hurts was the man of the summer. You know what I mean? Like, guys started podcast. Like, it matters none. It matters none. These guys, you know what I love about Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship? When training camp started, when shit got real, that podcast slowed down. It didn't ramp up when the season started. They had fun throughout the offseason. They brought on some of their teammates, some people that they respect. But when things got critical, we dead in that. Hey, we'll be back next summer. Hey, you may get an episode once a month from us. Because they know what's at stake. They taking their job serious. You got a lot of young guys who are entering year 2, and they've experienced the highs of the highs so early that they've been forced to mature beyond their years. And granted, a lot of those guys came in mature already. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Trotter Jr., right? A lot of those guys came in mature already. Who else? The bottom line is, I like the message the Philadelphia Eagles are sending. I like the message they're sending. I like the tone they're setting. They're sending a message not only to the Cowboys, not only to the fan base, but to themselves that we have not done nothing yet. We did it once. Okay. We got to prove we can do it again. And we got to prove we for real. We got to prove that we not just a team that got hot. We're not just a heater. We're the thermostat. We control the temperature. We're not thermometers. We're thermostats. We control the temperature. We don't just respond to the temperature. They dictate it. And I think it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be really exciting to see this team get active against the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday. Football is back. I'm super excited. I just can't wait to watch all these games that'll be coming up, man. Like I really can't wait. I got my NFL Plus locked and loaded. You know what I mean? Red Zone and all that kind of stuff. Going to be rewatching games, going to be reacting to games. You guys are going to get a ton of content this season. A ton. You know, Chalk It Up Sports is growing. You know, we're giving you guys different forms of content. You guys have the link up that's growing. The goal is to have an episode tomorrow for you guys. We have the newly minted Bald Eagles podcast featuring Coach Marcus Thomas from Pro Fan Talk and myself. You know, we've been building that for well over a year, and we never really put a name on it. We finally decided to put a name on the bullet, and the Bald Eagles podcast is here. So we appreciate you guys. You guys are going to get episodes for your pre-games on game day, and you guys are going to get episodes on Tuesdays. All right? So make sure you guys stay active. Make sure you guys stay engaged in the content. We appreciate y'all, man. We appreciate y'all. But again, the Eagles, they're putting it behind them. They're putting it behind them. And as they should. Because it won't serve you in 2025. Like Cam Jurgens came out and said it. He says, what the hell does a banner do? We got the Dallas Cowboys. It means nothing. And you can make an argument the Dallas Cowboys are coming in with a chip on their shoulder. They just traded away their best player. They're already being doubted. They're already being bet against. They're playing with house money. The expectation is for them to get blown out. You can make an argument all the pressures on Philadelphia going into that game. You can make a legit argument. You can make a legit argument that all the pressures on the Philadelphia Eagles going into that matchup on Thursday because they're the reigning champions. They're the team that's clearly more dynamic from top to bottom. Dallas Cowboys, they traded their best player away. They're clearly punting on the season. There's no way that team can be competitive over a 17-game stretch, even making a deep playoff run. There's too many unknowns. There's too many things unproven. They got to show what's better than they could tell us. But all the pressure you can make an argument is on Philadelphia. You're the reigning Super Bowl champion. You have the Super Bowl MVP. You have the Offensive Player of the Year. You have the number one player on the NFL Top 100 in Saquon Barkley. You have three-time All-Pro A.J. Brown. You have one of the best receivers in football in Devontae Smith. You have a top 10 tight end in Dallas Goedert. You got arguably the best offensive line in football. You had the number one defense last year. You have two top 50, top 40 corners in Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. You have arguably the best defensive player in the division in Jalen Carter. Dexter Lawrence may have something to say about that, but you had arguably the best defensive player in the conference or in the division, with Jalen Carter. You had the best linebacker in the division in Zack Baun. You have a young up-and-coming defensive line led by Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt. You got some veterans back there now, Azeez Ojulari, Josh Uche. You got probably one of the most dynamic prospects in his draft class in Jihad Campbell, and throw in Andrew McCouby if you want. All the pressure is on the Eagles. The target is on their backs. The Cowboys coming in there, there's no expectation. There's none. And that can make a team dangerous. But because Nick Sirianni and this team, Jalen Hurts and these guys, because they're setting the tone, in how they're approaching this season, how they're approaching the opening game, not being present for the banner dropping, you're sending a message that does not matter. You're sending a message to your players that there's so much more food left on the table for us to devour. So at bare minimum, I can say that Nick Sirianni and these guys, they're entering the season with the right mindset. Now, whatever happens, happens. Injuries can happen, so on and so forth. I don't wish that on anybody, on any side of the fence. But there are things that can happen outside your control. But I love the way the Eagles are handling the controllables. That's what I've liked this offseason the most. So many things happen outside your control. So much. But how the Eagles have handled the controllables has been phenomenal. How Vic Fangio has handled the controllables on his defense has been phenomenal. Developing guys with his coaching staff, Clint Hurt, Christian Parker, Jeremiah Washburn, Bobby King, Joe Casper. The way Vic Fangio and his staff, Roy Anderson, the way Fangio and his staff has developed this team and put them in position to win, be it with the fundamentals, their nutrition, their conditioning. I'm looking at Jordan Davis, and Jordan Davis looks spectacular. Focusing on the controllables. Jordan Davis goes into the offseason. I'm a Super Bowl champion. I'm a national champion in Georgia 2-time, and I'm a Super Bowl champion. It's time for me to take my mentality, take my game to the next level, take my conditioning and my body to another level. Focusing on the controllables. Getting better at your technique. Quinyon Mitchell's been having a phenomenal offseason. Everything I've heard about Quinyon Mitchell, they say he's poised for an all-pro type year. Focusing on the controllables. You feel what I'm saying here? So now I think about, okay, Vic Fangio's defense versus this Dak Prescott-led Cowboys offense. Let's be honest about this. Dak Prescott, he tends to put up a lot of numbers, right? We know Dak Prescott isn't somebody we respect in the playoffs, but Dak Prescott can carve you up. He can put some numbers on the board. Let's not pretend. Let's not act brand new. I'm not a Dak Prescott guy, but objectively speaking, Dak Prescott can put up numbers. He can throw the football. But the playoffs, he just becomes a different person. But we're not talking about the playoffs. We're talking about week 1. We're talking about September. There's no pressure on the Cowboys. Maybe Dak feels his own pressure because they lost Micah and he's coming off the hamstring tear, and maybe Dak feels like he needs to, reinvigorate the franchise. Maybe he feels the need to overcompensate. You never know. Things happen. But I don't think the Eagles should go into this game thinking Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens just go and lay down. I don't think the Eagles should go in there thinking that they're just going to shrivel up. Vic Fangio's defense needs to be prepared, and I expect them to be prepared because of who they're led by. That's my expectation. Like, this Eagles secondary versus the Cowboys pass attack is going to be interesting. We talked about the Eagles run game versus their defense, right? We talked about the Eagles offense overall against their defense. Their defense is compromised. Their defense is unproven as a collective. As a collective, they're unproven. You lost DeMarcus Lawrence. You lost Micah Parsons. Trevon Diggs is coming off of a back-to-back injury-riddled season on the same knee. How will he fare? Deron Bland just got paid coming off of an injury-riddled season. How will he fare this year? With the money now, especially. So many unknowns. But that Eagles defense, cornerback 2, we still don't know officially who's going to start. Will it be Adoree Jackson? Will it be Jacorian Bennett? It's going to be one of those guys. It's going to be one of those guys. If I had to roll the dice, it may be Jacorian Bennett. He has a lot of experience defending George Pickens. I think he faced him twice before in his career. And he's confident. I was watching his press conference. He's confident. He feels like he has the system down packed. He feels good about where he's going. He feels good about where he is. That Eagles secondary, as we all know, they lost some people. You lost Slay in the secondary. You lost Isaiah Rodgers. You lost CJ GJ. They're gone. Now you have young guys like Makuba, Sidney Brown looking to step up at safety. You got Adoree Jackson, a veteran. Jaquorian Bennett, a fourth-year player or a third-year player, excuse me. Right? You got some guys coming in that are trying to fill some lofty shoes. And we don't need those guys to be the guys we lost. We need them to be the best version of themselves. The Eagles need Jaquorian Bennett to be the best version of Jaquorian Bennett. The Eagles need Makuba to be the best version of Makuba. Same thing for Adoree Jackson and Sidney Brown. You still have anchors on the defense. You still got guys like Quinyon Mitchell, your number one corner. You got Cooper DeJean, one of the most dynamic defenders in football, one of the most versatile defenders in football, can cover, can play the run, set the edge, can tackle in open space. Amazing play recognition. You got Reed Blankenship, great play recognition. A playmaker, a guy who can flip the field for you, a guy who can take the ball away, a guy who tackles well in space, a guy who's a good run defender. This Eagles secondary isn't decimated at all. But you do got some new faces that are going to have some challenges. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are highly talented brothers. Highly talented, highly skilled, highly respected. When the Cowboys traded for George Pickens, I was like, okay, I see what they're trying to do here. It didn't move the needle for me about their overall prospects as a team, but it makes them more dangerous. It makes their pass attack more interesting. But I think the Cowboys have too many issues, whereas though adding George Pickens won't fix them. But it'll make your pass attack more dynamic. It'll give defenses a larger headache. It makes them game plan significantly more. If the Cowboys don't have a running game, expect Dak Prescott to throw the ball 40 times plus. If that running game can't get off, expect Dak to throw that ball 40 plus times. So that means CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are going to have a lot of targets, a lot of opportunities. You know, you could throw in Jake Ferguson in that conversation. Jake Ferguson is the tight end they just paid. I think Jake Ferguson is entering year 4. You know, had a down year in comparison to his second season, but, you know, they paid Jake Ferguson. They paid DeRon Bland. They paid CeeDee. They paid Dak. They spent the money on where they believe they wanted to spend the money on. Now, how you believe that should have been allocated, that's a different conversation. But, you know, they traded for Pickens. They paid CeeDee. They paid Jake Ferguson. They paid Dak. Their priority is clear. You know where the ball is going. So I expect Dak Prescott to give everything he has. But I'm curious to know what the mobility is like. I want to see the Philadelphia Eagles test that mobility. This is going to be Dak Prescott's first game since tearing that hamstring in 2024. Dak Prescott, last time we saw him, I think Dak Prescott, before he got hurt, he was 3-5 on the season. The Cowboys were going nowhere fast. He was 3-5 on the season, played in 8 games, wasn't accurate, wasn't protecting the football. They had no running game. Dak Prescott wasn't off to a strong start when he got hurt. So now he has a full offseason to get his mind right, get healthy. We'll see what he is. We'll see what he has in store. But I'm expecting the best version of Dak Prescott. I don't know about y'all. I'm expecting the best version of Dak Prescott. So we really shouldn't go into this game expecting the Cowboys to lay down. We shouldn't go into this game expecting it to be a cakewalk because this is the NFL. Yes, it's exciting to talk shit. I do it. We have fun with it, of course. But when it gets close to game time, let's really be serious. Those grown men out there. The Eagles can get got if they go out there bullshitting. Let's call it what it is. They can get got if they go out there bullshitting. Now, I don't think that's going to be the outcome. because I trust what they've built. I trust what they've established. I trust the mentality that they're carving out going into this season. But again, I say George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, that will be a task for Vic Fangio. But Dak Prescott in particular, he didn't get a chance to play this Eagles defense last year. He's lucky, by the way. But he didn't have to go up against Quinyon Mitchell. He didn't have to go up against Cooper DeJean. He didn't have to go up against Zack Baun last year. He avoided that. He dodged that bullet. He dodged that. He ain't been up against a Eagles defense, an Eagles secondary, an Eagles back seven or back five, however you want to look at it. He hasn't gone up against an Eagles defense like this dynamic, this athletic. The Zack Baun, Jihad, Campbell combination is going to be fascinating to watch. And if you think about the way Howie Roseman drafted, he drafted a bunch of guys that have tremendous sideline to sideline speed, guys that can hit those gaps quick, guys that can set the edge, guys that are ruthless in their pursuit. He built this. Honestly, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Howie Roseman saw where this division was going. He sees Jaden Daniels in Washington. He knows what he's capable of. He expected the Giants to draft a quarterback. He knows what he has to deal with Dak Prescott. He said, listen, I'm getting athletes. I'm getting guys that can get to the quarterback. I'm getting guys that can set the edge. I'm getting guys that can cover, that can go sideline to sideline. I need athletes because that boy in Washington can move. Jackson Dart, he's been named the second string quarterback behind Russell Wilson. So you know what that tells me? Russell Wilson's leash isn't that long. And if they feel like Russell Wilson is holding his offense back, Jackson Dart will get his opportunity. And Jackson Dart can move a little bit as well. Jackson Dart had a strong preseason. We'll see what he becomes, but there's some new blood in this division. And Howie Roseman's not going to get caught lacking. Like I said, Dak Prescott may be a liability in the playoffs. He may be somebody we laugh at in the playoffs, but he can still put up high volume numbers, be it garbage time or not. He can still put up numbers. That's the cold reality. That's my objective take. He can pad the stats at times for sure. He's a stat padder. Don't get it twisted. But he can throw the rock. And again, they don't have a proven rush attack right now. It's not proven. They got Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue. They got guys on that and that are just unproven. Guys that are either unproven or washed. Their running back room is Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue, Miles Sanders. Jaden Blue is a rookie. We'll see what he becomes. I know the Eagles were looking at Jaden Blue, so we'll see. But they don't have a proven rush attack right now. Unproven. That's the key word, unproven. So I expect them to throw the ball 35, 40 plus times a game. I really, really do. 40 plus times easily. Especially if they're down, if they're behind, if they get into a hole early, for sure. Now, CeeDee Lamb coming off of an all-pro season and a Pro Bowl season. CeeDee Lamb had, in 15 games, he had 101 receptions on 152 targets. He had almost 1,200 receiving yards, averaged almost 12 yards an attempt or reception, had six touchdowns on the season. George Pickens played in 14 games last year, had 59 catches on 103 targets, 900 receiving yards, averaged over 15 yards in the reception, 3 receiving touchdowns. Jake Ferguson is somebody we got to pay attention to as well. They're talented at the skill positions. They're talented. And Dak historically plays well against the Eagles. Like I said, but he hasn't faced up against these guys, though. He ain't faced a Quinyon or a Coop or a Zack Baun, or he hasn't. Or Jihad, he hasn't. We'll see where he is. We'll see where he is. I really think Zack Baun and Jihad Campbell can wreck this game. I think Zack Baun and Jihad Campbell can wreck this football game. Because if I'm Vic Fangio, I need to find out where Dak Prescott's hamstring is. I need to find out, can he move? I need to find out, can he move? Dak has always had a quick release. But I need to see how he responds to the pressure. And on top of that, Dak Prescott doesn't have the greatest history against a Vic Fangio defense. Granted, he's only played Vic Fangio 3 times in his career. He played Vic Fangio in 2016, in 2021, and 2023. Those were 3 different teams. Dak Prescott faced Vic Fangio's Chicago Bears in 2016, where he went 19 for 24, completed 79% of his passes, 248 passing yards, a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown. They beat the Bears 31-17 in 2016. He did that against the Vic Fangio defense, right? Now, when we get later on in Dak's career, in 2021, Dak and the Cowboys had to face Vic Fangio's Broncos, and they lost 30-16. They were held scoreless for 3 straight quarters. And then they tried to stage some late heroics. Dak ended up going 19 for 39 in that game in 2021 against the Broncos. Completed 48% of his passes, 232 passing yards, averaged under 6 yards an attempt, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. He was not good in that game. He was not efficient in that game. He was ineffective. He was neutralized by Vic Fangio's defense in 2021. Held scoreless for 3 straight quarters. The third matchup in 2023, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys had to go up against Vic Fangio's Miami Dolphins defense, and the Cowboys lost. The Cowboys were held to 20 points. Dak went 20 for 32, completed 62% of his passes, threw for 253 passing yards, averaged almost 8 yards an attempt, 2 passing touchdowns, and 1 fumble loss. But I remember that game. That was a bad game for the Cowboys. They couldn't score. They were held to 20 points in that game. So over the past few seasons, as of late, Dak Prescott hasn't had the cleanest games against Vic Fangio, especially when Vic Fangio has talent, or if he has an offense on the other side. He didn't have an offense in Chicago in 2016. In 2021, I can't remember who was Denver's quarterback in 2021. I can't remember at all. But when Vic Fangio has talent, he has guys that he can rely on. He's gotten the best of Dak Prescott. He's 1-2 against Dak Prescott, Vic Fangio. I'm sorry. Dak Prescott is 1-2. Yeah, against Vic Fangio. Yes, excuse me. 1-2. That's not the largest sample size, but it matters. Again, it's not the largest sample size, but it matters. And I think the biggest difference between Dak Prescott in 2016 versus Dak Prescott today is that he was more mobile back then. Again, in 2016, when he beat the Bears, Vic Fangio's Bears defense, completed 79% of his passes, went 19 for 24, threw for 248 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, no interceptions, had 4 rush attempts for 36 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. He was more of a threat on the ground. He was more dynamic. Now, Dak Prescott, although he's a good passer, Dak Prescott isn't as mobile as he used to be. Remember, I think he broke his leg a couple years ago, and then he just tore his hamstring. How mobile will he be? How mobile will he be? And again, with Vic Fangio has talent, he's gotten the best of Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Dak Prescott has not had his cleanest games because Vic Fangio does a fantastic job at throwing out that dynamic cover 2 defense. He gives you so many different looks out of that package, out of that alignment. It's remarkable what Vic Fangio's been able to accomplish. And now he has talent, not just on defense, but he has a talented offense led by Nick Sirianni and Campbell and Jalen Hurts. Again, I think the Cowboys are a team that are wounded, They're compromised, but that makes them a little dangerous. They're playing with house money. All the pressure's on the Eagles. But because of the way Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Saquon, Vic Fangio, Devontae Smith, the way these guys are carrying themselves, Zack Baun and Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, Mailata, all the captains on this team, Jake Elliott, Reed Blankenship, the way they're moving, they're not moving like they just won the Super Bowl. They're moving like they're hungrier than ever. And I fully trust Vic Fangio to have answers for any of the deficiencies the Eagles may have or that we deem they may have. Again, when training camp was going on in 2024, we didn't know what we had. We were just hoping to be an average defense. We didn't know what we had. We ended up having the number one defense. Same thing goes for this offseason. Only difference is you're coming off the season where you were the number one defense and people are looking at you like, okay, can you maintain that? You lost some players. People are already expecting the Eagles to take a step back. Like, really think about that. People are already expecting the Eagles to take a step back. On defense, especially. And I agree with Sharp Period here. No DB room is flawless. But I think the Eagles' DB room is in way better position than 90% of DB rooms in this league. If I had to say the most dynamic DB room in football, you may have to say the Baltimore Ravens. Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton, Nate Wiggins. Or is it Higgins? Nate Higgins. What's my man? Jair Alexander. Marlon Humphrey. That's probably the most dynamic secondary in football right now. But they're an outlier. Just how the Eagles last year, that secondary was an outlier. You got Isaiah Rodgers, Quinyon, Mitchell Cooper, DeJean, and Darius Slay in the same secondary with CJ and Reed Blankenship. That's not easy to – Nate Wiggins, excuse me. So it is Wiggins, my bad. And they got Mike Green on that defense. So Nate Wiggins, my bad, y'all. Anyway, the Eagles secondary is still better than 90% secondaries in this league. I'm still taking the Eagles secondary over most teams. Miss Linda Washington says, we will be okay in the secondary. Thank you for the super chat, Miss Linda. You know, I ultimately agree with you. I ultimately agree that I think we're going to be fine in the secondary. I think our problems have been a little overblown. I think our problems have been accentuated because of the success they've had and because of the standard Howie Roseman has set in his team building, his roster building ability. You know, you lose guys like Milton Williams and Josh Sweat on the front. BG retires, you lose Darius Slay and Isaiah Rodgers and CJ. People expect your team to take a step back. Those names aren't slouches. But I think you got guys who are taking another step forward on this defense. You got guys in this defense who are looking to prove something, like Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche, right? You got guys who are trying to take it to another level, like Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. These guys all have something to prove to themselves. And what I love about, I love what Trenton Wright just said here. Trenton Wright said, our problems are overblown because this fan base has incredibly high standards, which isn't a bad thing. You know, what's funny, this franchise had high standards for a long time, at least for the past 25 years. And it got to a point where we were like, listen, get to the playoffs and talk to me, right? Win the Super Bowl, win the NFC Championship, then talk to me, right? Because the Eagles are always constantly getting there, but never finishing. Now we finished twice in the past 8 years. Past 7 years, we finished on top in the past 7 years. So now the expectations are higher, rightfully so. When you got all this talent, when you're as dynamic, when you're as well coached as this team is, fans are going to have expectations. So I totally understand. Sweet Chin Music says, taking a step back isn't necessarily crazy. He says they were the best defense last season, the Eagles, by far. But taking a step back could just be the third-ranked defense. Exactly. You know what, Sweet Chin Music? You're right. Technically, taking a step back isn't crazy. But we have to be, we can't be facetious about this, right? When people say take a step back, they're not talking about going from being the number 1 defense to the number 3 defense. They're not saying that when they say that about the Eagles. Maybe that's what you mean. Maybe that's what you mean, Sweet Chin Music. And I feel you on that. Being the number 1 defense multiple years in a row is incredibly difficult. Not easy to do. But when those detractors are saying the Eagles are going to take a step back, they're not talking about going from being the number 1 defense, the number 1 defense to the number 2 and number 3 defense. They're talking about going from being the number 1 defense to like being number 9, number 10, number 12. That's how they're talking. That's how they're talking. And honestly, whenever I see people doubt the Philadelphia Eagles, they're doubting the Eagles for one reason only. They doubt Jalen Hurts. Whenever people try to discredit the Eagles, all that means is that they lack confidence in Jalen Hurts, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that because Jalen Hurts has done it time and time again. He's proven it that he can do it. He's proven that he wins playoff games. He's a winner. That's all that means to me. When people doubt the Eagles, all that translates to me is, oh, they doubt Jalen Hurts. That's all that means to me. So, it's going to be what it's going to be. But I look at Vic Fangio and what he has to deal with that Cowboys offense, and I fully expect the Cowboys to throw the ball a lot. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are going to present problems, but can you make life difficult for them? They're going to make plays because they're professionals, and this is what they do. They're talented. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are going to make plays. But can you make it all for naught? Can you make it mean nothing? Can you get them off the football field? Can you hold them to field goals if you turn the ball over? There's going to be, like, you don't want to. Here's another thing, too. Protecting the football and making sure the field doesn't get flipped on you. Because all it takes is one bad moment, and all of a sudden, they flip the field on you, and they're in the red zone. 2 plays later, touchdown. Now you're in the hole. The field position, the Cowboys don't have too many avenues to victory. They don't. Don't let their fan base fool you. It's all faux confidence. It's all false bravado. The Cowboys fans know they don't have but so many routes to win this game. So many things have to happen in their favor that's outside of their control in order for them to win this game. They don't have too many paths to victory. They're going to be relying on turnovers. They're going to be relying on special teams. They're going to be relying on special teams flipping the field. They're going to try to play keep away if they can. They're going to try to limit the amount of possessions the Eagles have. They know they're outgunned and they're outclassed here. So they're going to try to muck this game up. They're going to try to keep this game as close as possible going into that fourth quarter. Because the longer this game is close, the more confident they become. The longer this game stays close, the margin for error shrinks for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, again, the Cowboys don't have too many paths to victory. So expect them to pull out all the stops. You may see some trick plays. You may see a lot of blitzing because they probably know they can't stop the run. You're going to see them try to get the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands fast so he can't load up and hit A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith or Jihad Dotson or Mechie or Darius Cooper. You're going to see the Cowboys do everything possible to muck this game up. So it's so important for Vic Fangio and his defense to do their job, keep points off the board. It's going to be so important for Jalen Hurts and his offense to sustain drives, beat them up, beat them into submission, make them give up. Nothing makes a team give up more than not being able to stop the run. If the Cowboys cannot stop the run, this game is over. This game is over. If the Eagles are averaging 4 to 5 yards a carry going into halftime, this game is over. I mean that. But the Eagles gotta beat him into submission. They gotta choke him out early. They need to have them going into halftime down double digits. You don't want to keep a wounded dog alive too long. Eventually, they bite back. So I love the mentality they're entering this game with. I love the mentality they're entering the season with coming off of the Super Bowl. I love everything about what they're trying to do here to create an environment of hunger and focus and intensity. I love it. I sincerely love it. Let me read some of your comments here. We're going to begin to close the show pretty soon. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I really do appreciate the love and the support. You guys have been truly, truly great, and I don't take it for granted. Tiffany Simpson says this team is not paying any attention to what happened in the past. I agree with you 100%. I think this team is so focused on today. They're led properly by Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is such a serious dude. He takes his craft serious, and Jalen Hurts is honestly not the type of guy whose heartbeat changes depending on the outcome and depending on whatever he's accomplished. Jalen Hurts strikes me as the kind of guy that he gets more hungry the more success he gets. Jalen Hurts is a madman. He doesn't seem impressed or fazed by anything. Sweet Chin Music says, we assume Saquon can't have back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons, but what if the league can't stop him again? That's another thing too, right? It comes down to like the offensive line doing what they do. If he's not getting touched, if he's not getting beat up, what's the problem? But I think the Eagles are going to be intentional this year about making sure that he's well taken care of. I think the Eagles, and I think that's why A.J. Dillon, his role is so important this season. Will Shipley taking a step forward. Their roles are so important this year because I'm of the mindset that I don't know if I want Saquon Barkley having to rush for 2,000 yards again. And look, I'm not even saying he had to do that last year. It just happened like that. They were just on a heater. They couldn't stop him. And look, if they can't stop him, you keep feeding them. But at the same time, this offensive line is so good. If they can't stop Saquon with this offensive line, they damn sure not going to be able to stop A.J. Dillon with this offensive line. A.J. Dillon is a madman when he runs with the rock. It's easy to forget what A.J. Dillon has done in this league. But A.J. Dillon has been one of the most productive number 2 running backs in this league. He's been one of the most productive RB2s in this league with the Green Bay Packers. Look up his resume. He's productive. I think A.J. Dillon can be a beast behind this offensive line. I really do. So, frankly, I don't think we need Saquon to run for 2,000 yards, and if it happens, it happens. But I think the Eagles are going to be very, very measured. I think the Eagles are going to be very intentional about making sure Saquon is properly relieved at the proper moments. Miss Fanny with the super chat. Thank you, Miss Fanny. I really do appreciate you. She says, just sending a chat before hitting the highway. We're used to being spoiled by having talent that when we don't see what we're used to, we get rattled. 2 missing passengers never stop the train. Hey, I know that's right. I know that's right, Miss Fanny. Be safe on them roads. Be safe on them highways. I appreciate you, Miss Fanny. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Tiffany says 160 people in the live, only 77 likes. Hey, Tiff, let them know. Let them know, Tiff. They got to step their weight up, man. We got over 150 people in this stream, and we got 80 likes. Come on, y'all. The math not mathing. Let's get to it. Aunt Perry, my guy, long time no see. Hope you're doing well, my man. He says, it's time to lock in. Thank you for the $20 super chat. He says, it's time to lock in. No more talk. Facts. It's facts. All the rankings, all the lists, all the accolades don't matter. When that ball is hiked on Thursday, it's man against man. It's my will against your will. That Super Bowl trophy not going to save you on Thursday. Them Super Bowl rings, them Offensive Player of the Years, that Super Bowl MVP not going to save you. Them All-Pros not going to save you. You got to show me. You got to show the Cowboys that there is levels to this shit, and y'all got a long way to go. So I think the Philadelphia Eagles need to put belt to ass early in this game and punch them in the mouth, beat them into submission, demoralize them early. Tight Spiral says, if Saquon hits 2,000 yards this season, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Bro, if he hits 2,000 yards again this year, bro, just give him the gold jacket. Just give him the gold jacket. Sharp Period says, win how you got to. Facts. Do what you got to do. That's what I love about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is making it very clear that, yo, the goal, the message has been win by any means necessary. That's the message. That's the goal. That's the message. Win by any means necessary. Scoob is predicting the 52-17 win. I don't have my score prediction just yet. I'll probably have that for you guys on Thursday. Trenton says, Eagles fans demand perfection. So even if one position is weak like CB2, it's blown out of proportion. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. He also says being able to get home, or Sharp Period says getting home with 4 linemen is going to help a lot. It'll keep our weak link insulated away from true one-on-one coverage. That's a very good point. I definitely think Vic Fangio, because I know earlier in the show I said I wouldn't be surprised if Vic Fangio, gets after Dak Prescott trying to test that hamstring. But at the same time, knowing what Vic Fangio did in that Super Bowl, Vic Fangio was always going to try to get home with 4 first. He's not going to go out there blitzing right away. He's going to always try to get home with 4 first. Now, will he, when he send down a linebacker and drop back one of them edge rushers, he could definitely do that. That'll definitely throw a loop for the offensive line. But Vic Fangio is always going to try to get home with 4 first. He's going to try to get home with 4 first. And if the Eagles are dominating with just 4 linemen, this game is over. There's going to be 2 indicators in this game. If there's going to be 2 indicators in this game that will tell me everything I need to know. If the Eagles are averaging well over 4 yards a carry, and if they're getting home with 4, this game is over. It's over. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. We'll definitely see how it goes. Chaperoid says, or Chart Period says, they forget we only wanted our defense to be middle of the pack at the start of last season. Exactly. We only expected them to be, we wanted average. We were saying, can they just be a top 15, top 14 defense? That's all we said. And they ended up being number 1. My man S. Blunt in the building. Shout out to my guy. He says, Tone, how do you think Dallas tries to attack us? Well, defensively, I think they're going to target CB2. That's what I think. I think they're going to try to target CB2. They're going to try to get him on the island. I also think they're going to try to hit us with some outside zone run schemes. I think they're going to try to test our edge rushers early, especially in the run game. They're not going to run up the middle. They're not built to do that. They don't have a single running back in that room that can run up the middle with confidence. Not Javonte Williams, not Jaden Blue, not Miles Sanders. They're not going to run up the middle. They're not going to run at Jordan Davis. They're not going to run at Jalen Carter. They're going to try to run at Jalix Hunt. They're going to try to run at Nolan Smith. But probably, if I had to roll the dice, they're going to try to run at Jalix Hunt to see if he is what the Eagles think he is. And they're going to target CB2. They don't have too many paths to victory. I said that earlier. They don't have too many paths. So they're going to try to muck this game up. They're going to try to limit our possessions. They're going to rely on turnovers. They're going to depend heavily on flipping field position on special teams. They traded Micah away, so they don't have a legitimate pass rush right now. So they're going to try to blitz. They try to knock Jalen Hurts off his timing to get the ball out of his hands quick. That's what they're going to try to do. But everything the Cowboys have tried or are going to try, the Chiefs tried that in the Super Bowl. Blitzing Jalen Hurts, trying to get the ball out of his hands early. Trying to limit the run game. Force Jalen Hurts to beat you. They tried those things. Didn't work. Didn't work. They couldn't run the ball against the Eagles. They couldn't. They couldn't consistently hit their receivers. The Chiefs. I know how the Cowboys are going to try to attack the Eagles. The question is, can they do it? The question is, can they do it? But we'll see. We're gonna close the show, you guys. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. Chalking Up Sports is nothing without the people. You guys have truly been phenomenal. I can't wait to continue to talk ball with you guys as the week progresses. The game is on Thursday. I believe we're going to have an episode of the Link Up tomorrow evening, featuring Simone Stanley, Laura Brunson, and myself. I can't wait to talk to those guys and gal about what's to come. You know, we got a lot to get into. Make sure you guys stay locked in on the channel. Stay locked in on the Bald Eagles podcast featuring Marcus Thomas from Pro Fan Talk and myself, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports. Make sure you guys lock in on all the content we have dropping, the clips, the reels, the shorts, the streams. It's going to be a hell of a season, you guys. And we have so much to be happy about. We have so much to look forward to. And I just love the mentality that this Eagles team is entering the season with. I love the fact that Nick Sirianni said we're not attending the banner dropping. We're going to be in the locker room because that's not why we're here. We're here to fuck up the Cowboys. He didn't say that, but that's how I took it. So smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys have been locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.